Welcome to this new episode where I will give you a summary of the latest edition of DECRY Info by Pero Luara, an interesting news analysis program that looks at political, social, economic, and legal issues. Today, he spoke mainly about the current situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the recent events related to the summit that took place in Tanzania. Today, we must face a serious reality, he starts by saying. The security situation is getting worse, and the government is showing signs of incompetence and weakness. The war continues in the east of the country, with M23 rebels moving towards Bukavu. The city of Goma is already under their control, and Bukavu is their next target. The Congolese army is struggling, leaving behind weapons and soldiers on the battlefield. The military leadership is in crisis, and the decisions made by the government are only making the situation worse. Millions of people have been displaced, thousands have lost their lives, and the country's territory is being taken little by little. In this context, an important summit was held in Tanzania, bringing together the Southern African Development Community, SADC, and the East African Community, EAC. The goal of this meeting was to find common ground on how to solve the crisis in Congo. There were two opposing views. SADC, led by South Africa, supports Congo's position and refuses to negotiate with the rebels, while the EAC, led by Rwanda and Kenya, supports dialogue with M23. But even though this summit was extremely important, President Felix TSHISEKEDI decided not to attend. Instead, he sent a minister who is not competent to represent him. His absence sent a message of weakness and lack of concern to the other leaders present. While Rwanda, accused of being the aggressor, was well represented by Paul Kagame, TSHISEKEDI stayed away and only participated via video conference. The result of this summit was a complete failure for the Democratic Republic of Congo. There was no clear condemnation of Rwanda, and no pressure was put on the rebels to stop their attacks. Instead, the summit talked about merging the Nairobi and Luanda negotiation processes, which opens the door for direct talks with M23. This unclear decision only encourages the enemy and weakens Congo's position. Apart from this diplomatic failure, the country is facing serious internal problems. Corruption is everywhere in the government. Congolese soldiers are not paid properly, while foreign mercenaries receive extremely high salaries. The government prefers to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to Burundian soldiers and private mercenaries instead of strengthening its own army. Meanwhile, the people suffer from insecurity, poverty, and lack of basic services. TSHISEKEDI is unable to control the situation. His failure to manage the country, to make strong decisions, and to defend Congo's interests makes him responsible for this disaster. His government is based on favoritism and tribalism instead of choosing competent people. He is isolated, afraid of his own team, and hiding in Kinshasa, far away from the battlefield. The situation is clear. Congo is losing this war, not just because of an external enemy, but mainly because of the incompetence and bad leadership of its own government. As long as TSHISEKEDI remains in power, things will only get worse. The people need to wake up and demand a serious change before it is too late. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.